Ah, God. Man, I've been having those weird visions ever since I started scripting this video. Oh well, better get it over with. So if you've been following my videos for a while, you'll notice that I may or may not have sprinkled a little bit of Pinkie Pie hate into them, specifically with the season rushes. So this has led to people wondering why I don't like her, and that's understandable. After all, Pinkie Pie is one of the most popular characters in the entire show, so I can totally get why hearing someone saying that they don't like Pinkie Pie would elicit the same response as hearing someone say that they like Dragon Ball GT. I had actually planned to do this video for a while now, and I think now is as good a time as any to get this done. So prepare your jimmies, folks, because I'm about to explain why I do not like Pinkie Pie. Before I get started though, I want to make a few things known. First of all, this is not going to be a video about me bitching and moaning about why I don't like Pinkie. It wouldn't be fair to you guys if I just made a video about me ranting and raving about why I don't like something, so I'm not going to do that to you. Also, I don't think that my opinions would hold much value if I didn't present them in a rational manner. Secondly, this is not going to be an attack on the Pinkie Pie fans either. Everyone is entitled to their own opinion about how they feel about a character. They are just cartoon characters after all. So while I know a lot of people may not agree with me on this, hopefully you'll be able to at least respect my opinion. And I'm sure that there are going to be some people who will ignore this message and proceed to dislike and give me hate comments, but such is life. Besides, if I do get a lot of hate comments, I always have this. So let's get started, shall we? One of the reasons why I do not like Pinkie is because I find her to be way too over the top. And the funny thing is, I didn't always see her like that. In the first season, she was just a happy-go-lucky character with a nice upbeat personality, and she'd always brighten up the room whenever she showed up. My problems with her began towards the end of season 1 with Party of One. I know some people thought that the rest of the main 6 were jerks because they didn't want to go to Pinkie's party, thus resulting in her downward psychological spiral. But think about it. They had just been to one of Pinkie Pie's parties the previous night, and it kinda bothered me that she got all depressed because her friends didn't want to party with her when it's been barely 24 hours since the last party they had. I mean, Pinkie Pie is supposed to have a deep connection with her friends, right? So wouldn't it occur to her that maybe her friends are just too busy to party all the time? Rarity has a business to run, Applejack has a farm to take care of, Twilight has to study, Fluttershy has animals to look after, and Rainbow Dash has weather patrol. Don't get me wrong, I know how disappointing it feels to have your friends not be able to hang out with you, but given the context of Pinkie Pie's situation, her reaction makes her come off as codependent. And that turned me off a little bit. As the seasons go on, Pinkie Pie seems to become more and more obnoxious to me, to the point where she's totally ignorant as to how her actions affect others. Take Luna Eclipse, for example. For the majority of the episode, we're under the impression that Pinkie freaks out at Luna because she thinks she's Nightmare Moon and is genuinely scared of her. But then we find out that she wasn't really scared of her and just enjoying the spirit of the holiday. Now here's my problem with this. Pinkie Pie was portrayed as a character who always cares about other ponies and wants to bring happiness to them. So shouldn't she have been aware of how her actions were affecting Luna and how they were making her feel even more isolated than she already was? And even if she didn't, she could have at least apologized. Oh yeah, Luna, sorry for making your adjustment to modern society harder than it had to be. My bad. Then there's the season 4 episode Philly Vanilli. In this episode, she made Fluttershy cry on more than one occasion. Now, way back in season 1, in the episode Griffin the Brush Off, Pinkie Pie tells Rainbow Dash that she shouldn't prank Fluttershy because she's sensitive and she might cry. And yet in this episode, she pays no heed to Fluttershy's sensitivity. Because of these aforementioned examples, I just can't help but see Pinkie Pie as an obnoxious character. And that wouldn't have been all bad if it weren't for this. A character that you would normally dislike in real life could be a likable character in a TV show or any other piece of media if they have one thing: charm. Mabel from Gravity Falls is a good example of this. She does act like a bit of an airhead, and it can grain on someone a bit, but she still has a charm that makes you like her regardless. Now in the case of Pinkie Pie, and I'm only speaking for myself here, she just doesn't have that charm. A lot of the times I get the feeling that she's just being obnoxious for the sake of being obnoxious. Also, I really don't like when she's used as a character that just randomly knows something just so we can move the story along. And a lot of the times when this happens, it's just a scene that doesn't need to be there in the first place. The most recent example I can think of is in Equestria Girls Rainbow Rocks. Twilight tries to explain how the new mirror works to her friends, and then when they don't get it, Pinkie Pie just jumps in and explains it for them. Now I know this was supposed to be funny, but we had enough exposition in this scene already, and Twilight could have just simply explained how the mirror worked. Now I know some people will say, But Sketchy, that's just part of her personality. But when they use that part of her personality several times in one episode or movie and overdo it to the extent that they do, it becomes intrusive. And it ends up getting old and losing its flavor. I also find myself indifferent to Pinkie Pie's songs because they just all sound the same to me. Now, was Pinkie always my least favorite character? No. Back in my early days of watching MLP, that honor belonged to a different pony, and that pony was Rainbow Dash. I was initially turned off by her cocky attitude, and she came off as really unlikable to me. But then we get episodes like Sonic Rainboom and Read It and Weep, and Sleepless in Ponyville, and Rainbow Falls, and Flight to the Finish, and Testing 1 2 3, and even Wonderbolt Academy, which in my opinion is one of, if not the best Rainbow Dash episode. All these episodes made me question and rethink my opinion of her, and as the series makes more and more episodes, I begin to like her more and more, and probably by the end of season 5, she'll replace somebody on my top 10 favorite characters list. But in the case of Pinkie Pie, the opposite is happening. As the series makes more and more episodes, I begin to like her less and less. Now keep in mind, I can't blame the writers for this. I can't chastise them for making a character I don't like. The show is supposed to appeal to a broad range of people, so just because I don't like a character doesn't mean that makes the show bad or anything. It just means that I, personally, don't like the character. Believe it or not, Pinkie Pie fans, there are going to be some people who she doesn't appeal to, and I happen to be one of those people. So my hope is that this video helps to shed a little light on why I hold this opinion that I have of her. Now, to end on a positive note, there is one area where I don't feel so negative of Pinkie, and that's in the My Little Pony comics. And 2 issues in particular come to mind. The first is issue 5 of the micro series, where she helps an old role model of hers find a new niche in his career now that age has held him back. I found this to be a great use of Pinkie's character. She gets to help out someone that she used to look up to and show them that there's more than one way to spread joy and laughter to others. Another good use of her character is in issue 7 of Friends Forever, where she's paired up with Luna. She shows Luna what it means to make people laugh and why you should make people laugh. There's a really good scene of dialogue between the two of them towards the end of the comic, and it shows that Pinkie Pie can still keep her upbeat personality without having to be obnoxious and still show others the value of what it means to laugh. Now, as you've just seen, it is possible for me to like Pinkie Pie as a character, but these instances are so few and far between that in the grand scheme of things, it ends up not making much of a difference in my opinion of her. So as it stands right now, Pinkie Pie is still my least favorite character in My Little Pony. Will that change in season 5? We'll just have to see. With that being said, I'll leave you guys off with this. So, for those of you who made it to the end of this video without rage quitting and leaving a dislike and hate comment, let me know what you thought of this video in the comments below or hit me up on Tumblr as usual. Until next time, keep it sketchy, folks.